Hey, everybody, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute, and I have a legendary actress, comedian, writer, Thea Vidale is here. Thea Vidale, how are you, Thea?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's so
Uh,
nice to meet you.
it's very nice to meet you too. I'm very honored to meet you.
I,
I didn't, we both have a mutual friend,
yeah, I'm going to mention you at the end.
Lester.
Lester
I love
Bibbs.
Lester.
Lester Bibbs set this up, and I couldn't be more grateful.
Oh, he's
I
a
love
sweet
Lester.
man.
Lester's a fantastic human being.
You know what? He's one of the few men I have gone shopping with. And he enjoys it just like any other
He
bitch.
calls me family, so you figure that one out.
You know what? Family has become not a thing of bloodline, but a thing of a beauty of commitment to someone else.
Well, you may not know this. I was actually born a poor black child,
It's a lot of that going on.
like Steve Martin from The Jerk. No, I'm
Yes,
kidding.
I love that.
I'm
That's one of
kidding
my
you.
favorite movies.
Is it really?
Yes.
I got
As,
lucky there.
uh
Yeah, I like it too. That's why I say that.
I just when they start singing jump down, turn around.
I, I like what. All I need is my. Don't call that dog hero. Call that dog shithead.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you, that was a very clever movie.
Yeah, Steve Martin's great. Well, let's
And,
let's not talk about Steve Martin. Let's talk about Thea. Let's start because I want to go back to the beginning. Now, I
okay.
think you're in Texas now. Is that right?
Yes.
But you weren't born and raised in Texas.
No, I was born in Washington
Yeah,
D.C.,
the district.
Walter Reed Hospital,
Okay.
and you can't get no more military than that. My dad was in the military for like
Okay.
26 years, I think, and he retired. And
You moved around quite a
well,
bit.
we did. I lived in Japan for 3.5 years as a
Okay. All right.
child, so that was an experience that a lot of kids back when I was young hadn't had.
Right.
And I was always around multiracial people,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what most children need to be.
Sure.
And it was an experience.
Okay. Well,
And
let's
I
keep.
like the Asian culture. I do. I like it. It works for me.
Okay. Well, let's keep going because I want to get from DC to what started first? Was it comedy or acting? Because obviously we have a lot of stuff that you've done.
I I I've always wanted to be an actress,
Okay.
but I've always been real funny,
Yeah.
silly,
Yeah.
and that's what people don't get. I'm just being silly.
Right. Oh,
My
I'm
mother
sure.
has always I can't tell you how many times I've been pinched and like close your mouth and don't you say it. Don't you say it. And cuz my mother had always she was the guardian at the gate when
Okay.
it came to me because I would say whatever I saw, whatever would pop out of my mouth. And I actually have always been funny and
Right.
silly.
Well, and that
And
that takes me to the question. Like, in other words, I was class clown in school. I had 44 nights detention. My father used to say, "You might as well stay in trouble because you sure as hell can't keep out of it." Right? That's true. But was there a catalyst? Was there something? Because I did see a thing that someone asked you to get on stage. You said no, and then was there a catalyst that finally made you start doing comedy?
um I used to work at a steak and egg kitchen,
Okay.
and I was the first black in 20 years to ever work there.
Wow.
And so they were really excited to see me. And they would come in, and this is during Gillies, the heat of Gillies. And they would they would come in and be drunk and stuff, and I try to keep down confusion and make them laugh,
Right.
but I had that big butcher knife right beside me. And because if you start some shit, it's gonna be some shit. you know
It's on.
and and these people, I knew they were rednecks. I knew what they were. Uh, one night I was working. They said, "You know what, Miss Thea?" They said, "You don't belong here." And I said, "What does that mean?"
Right.
I'm thinking they're like, "You need to get the fuck out of this."
Right, right,
But
right.
they're telling me, you need to be a comedian. You need to be
Okay.
on stage. And I'm looking at them like, I don't know anything about that.
All right.
And they said, we'll take you to a comedy club.
Okay.
So we went to a comedy club. The next day, I traded shifts with somebody.
Right.
And honey, when I saw what was going on at the comedy showcase,
Okay.
I knew it. I
You
knew
knew it.
it.
Okay.
I knew it. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I knew I was going to get on that stage
Yeah.
some kind of way. And so that next week, I got on stage on my birthday.
Okay. On your birthday. So
Yes.
that would be the okay, cool.
So once I had to write down what I was going to say.
Okay.
Uh, I told people what goes on at the steak and egg kitchen
All
and
right.
how
Tell 'em
drunk
what you
they
know.
get,
Yeah.
how drunk how drunk they get, and how they are incapable of caring for each other
Right.
because this woman was choking on a piece of steak, and all her husband could say is, "Darling, are you all right?" And she's, and she all he said is, "Darling, are you all right?" And I asked the audience, I said, "When white folks start to turn blue, that mean y'all finna leave this earth, right?" And I said, "I'm not sticking my finger down that bitch's mouth. That's what I'm not gonna do." And
I thought you were going to tell me you gave her the Heimlich maneuver or something.
oh man, let me tell you something. I'm looking at this fucker. How could you? I almost thought he plotted for her to be so drunk that she would take a big bite of steak. And I think I hit her in the back or something. It popped out.
All
I
right.
wasn't touching shit. You can
So you
believe
saved
that.
her life.
It's nasty. And do you know they still ate that steak? They just, oh my
All
god. Normal people get up. The steak looked like a itty
right.
bitty.
All right. So,
Oh,
all right. All right. We got to move on because we've got so much to cover. So comedy is what started first.
yes.
And you did comedy for a long time. And then how did the acting thing come about? Because you are the
Well,
first. Oh, I'm sorry.
okay. I traveled all over the country. Okay,
Doing comedy.
and then doing comedy,
Right.
and then the next thing I knew, the big thing that I had done Rodney Dangerfield's
I met
comedy
Rodney.
special, and that helped. And then I went to did the Dirtiest Dozen,
Okay.
and that helped. But the next thing that happened was I went to Montreal Comedy Festival,
All right.
and I was the belle of the ball,
Yeah.
and I got William Morris to be my agent,
Okay. All right.
and I met some people, and they wanted to hear my story, and I told them. And so the next thing I know, uh, Thea was born.
Okay.
Uh,
And if I could just interject, if I have this right, you're the first African American woman that had the show named after yourself.
I'm the first black woman from the ranks of stand up to
Oh,
get
from comedy. Okay. Right.
a,
Yeah. I missed
a
that.
sitcom on a national network.
Right.
There have been no other ones, and it's in my own name. And I sat in the car and realized, I said, I'm the first one to do this.
Amazing. It
And
was on ABC and it was only on for 1 year. And there's a lot of controversy about why it was only on for 1 year.
yes, there is. I understand that.
Well, and so you know, because we never met, people don't know we never met. I worked in
No.
the music business, and I know you worked with Brandy on that show, and they talked about you. I read some stuff where ABC maybe didn't promote it properly. They had you in a bad time slot. There was a lot of reasons that the show didn't go longer.
It would have, you know what? Um, that was some of that, and it was politics. I don't do politics. I
No,
don't
I don't either.
do. I don't. Let me tell you something. If you want to see some bullshit,
I knew you were going to say that.
the bullshit that goes on
Yeah.
in Hollywood is not a joke. It is not for the
It's the
faint of
same
heart.
bullshit that goes on in the music business.
It's you see it. You see it in the forefront. It's in, I wish I could do this. Well, bitch, you watch what you wish for.
Yeah.
And they did not. People say, well, why didn't they let you go? Why didn't they let you be you? And I said, beats the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Why
If
I
they
can
had to let it, man, let me tell you something. When you have children that are the only child in their family, they don't know how to interact.
yeah.
They don't know
Well,
how to be siblings.
let's talk more about the TV because beyond your own show, you did Drew Carey, you did Ellen, you did Whoopi, My Wife and Kids, Ugly Betty, to name a few.
WWE.
Oh, I'm going to get to that. That's the part I was shaking my head about.
Oh,
Come
Thea.
back, Thea. Thea, you're gone.
Oh no, I just was trying to get a cigarette. This when you said
You can get
we'll
whatever
get
you
to
want.
that.
Take your time.
No, let me tell you something. Thea's like going around the world in 80 days.
I'm telling you.
I really, really, I really, really, for all the wrestling fans out there that are listening, let me tell you something. Vince McMahon's body is not a joke. That
I
man, oh Jesus, that's
I
a
couldn't give a,
man.
but it wasn't a good experience for you, was it?
I liked it. I wanted to do it.
Okay.
But what happened was I was kind of sick.
Okay.
I had hernias. And not only that, but Shelton and I, uh,
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
he wasn't he didn't want the belt. He didn't want the big belt. He didn't want to go where John Cena and The Rock had been. And let me just tell you this. When it comes to athletes, Shelton Benjamin was the best out of all of them. Those guys would be, pumping up and trying to get ready for the airing. And this boy is walking around eating Twizzlers. I swear to
And you
God,
you were Mama Benjamin, right?
I was Mama Benjamin.
Right. I saw some of the clips today where you were like bumping him up, telling we kick his ass.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, and I had fun to a certain degree.
Okay.
And then it's Shelton made it not be fun.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And he felt like I overpowered him. And
Oh,
my
okay.
character overpowered him.
I see.
And I said, I'm your mother. What don't you get? I am your mother. Mothers overpower their children, especially from the South. He goes, well, I said, we should write a scene. He goes, that's a conflict of interest. I go, no, it's not. It's boosting us up. And I wanted more, and he wanted not he was
Okay.
satisfied.
So let me ask you, because we kind of, well, like you said, around the world in 80 days with Thea. We went over comedy. One of the shows that I saw, because I had her on my show and it's her franchise, Carol Montgomery and Funny Women of a Certain Age. How was that show?
That was fine. I enjoyed doing it. Uh
There were some big
the
acts on that show.
huh?
There were some big acts on that show with you.
Yeah,
Carol
there
Leifer
were.
and Caroline Ray, I believe.
Yeah, Carolyn Ray and the Tammy.
Tim Pescatelli.
Yeah, and it was a lot of them. They were very I tried to be very polite, And I wasn't trying. I was polite. Uh,
Did you have a good time?
the time I should have had, I didn't have.
I'm sorry to hear
I
that.
had a, I had on the surface, it was a good time, if
All
that
right.
makes sense.
Were you pleased with the performance that they put out?
It was okay.
Okay.
It
Well,
was
that
okay.
ties in. This is going amazingly well, and normally they don't because I'm an idiot. Um, that ties into my next question. Favorite show that you've done, and that can include comedy, stand up, or television, or just let's call it favorite memory, and then a least favorite memory, which maybe was the WWE.
My favorite was in Scotland at the Edinburgh Festival,
Okay.
and I had the carnival tent. No, I had the tent was like a calliope, and it
Right.
was rhinestones and everything. And I performed with a blues singer,
All right.
and I did very well. I did so well that they had to move me to the circus tent.
I don't mean to
I,
laugh.
no, really, and it was amazing. And people got me,
Okay.
and I talked about what I wanted to talk about. I talked about racism. I talked about how our children shouldn't be scared of each other and stop telling them lies about black people about what you don't. I just got to be myself. I love Scotland, Edinburgh Festival. I've been twice. But
Okay.
now I would like to go again because first I went as a newbie.
All right.
The second time I had a TV show, but this third time I'd like to go because what I've seen, I'm a grandmother now.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Oh, don't get excited. Them motherfuckers is everywhere. Just fucking like leeches. Just you be scared to leave the kitchen. I'm
Good.
not lying. I swear to God. You know what?
I have a son. I know. Thea, you gotta move up. Move up. We got your boobs. We don't have you. There we go.
Okay. I love my grandchildren.
No, I
All of them.
know.
I do. It's about nine of them somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, let me tell you something. I love my grandchildren. I love them.
Right.
Sometimes I don't like them, and see right now somebody gonna say, "How could you say that? Fuck you, bitch! They're my aunts, my babies, not yours." People be scared to say the truth about children. People get all sensitive and shit about their kids. This is the same raggedy motherfucker would push you down a flight of stairs for some insurance money. But this is who you love. Man, you better keep your eyes open, stay woke. Children, these children aren't the children we were when we were young.
No, no, no.
These children, see, we knew the look. We
Yeah. Oh,
knew
yeah.
what the deal was.
Yeah. Can you move your hand, Thea? Your hand's covered up. There,
Oh,
yeah, there you go. There. Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
always moving.
That's all right.
Anyway,
No, I want people to see your beautiful face. Anyway, no, you talk about the look. My father, and then he pulled off his belt. The old man would take off his belt, and you got your ass whooped.
and you can get your ass whooped in public and
Oh
nobody
yeah.
would stop them. You're just the victim of your own
Well, and
circumstances.
I got to tell you, since I started doing these, I can tell you, I'll bet you there's at least 20 comedians I've had on said, "Fuck them kids, fuck them
Man,
kids."
you know what?
And the first time I heard it, Thea, I was like, "Oh my god!"
I
But
can't
now
believe
it's
you
like
said
it's
that.
commonplace.
Let me tell you something. I have my daughter and I have raised people's children that don't belong to us.
Okay. Yeah.
And I get the dynamic that children will always love their mother no matter how,
Yeah.
whatever. But the ungratefulness of the
Yeah.
parents
Yeah.
is what fucks with my logic. Uh, you ought to be grateful somebody took your child in.
Yeah, well, and I tell you what, add in the whole social media bullshit. Thea, I don't know if you know this, because it amazes me. Do you know that over 50% of the kids today, do you know what their goal is, what they want to be?
A social media influencer.
Influencer, yeah. And that's disturbing as hell.
Very much so, and it's sad because they don't know how to talk to people.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They have no idea uh what it's like. I mean, to enjoy conversation,
Hmm.
to play games without a video, go outside, walk barefoot.
Well, you know what I see is their heads down. I worked at Lowe's before I got fired from Lowe's. That's how your Comedy Minute started. I got fired for telling jokes. But I worked at Lowe's, and the kids, they were always just there in the break room. Their head was down in their phone. And you're right, they couldn't talk at all. They couldn't talk to customers. They didn't talk to anybody.
They don't read a book.
No, no.
They don't read a book. Uh,
But I think that's a great point. They don't know how to talk. There's even the classes now teach kids how to talk to people.
real. You know what? It's gonna turn into that. It's like for me. Uh, One of my grandsons, he's like 14, I think, and he mumbles.
Yeah.
He mumbles. I go, "What the fuck did you just say?" Uh, uh, I was saying, oh, oh, oh. Yeah. And then he does this with his hair. He twists it. And I go, "Okay, look, Marjay, I'm going to need you to tell grandma what the hell you're saying." And he looks at me. I said, "And speak loudly so I understand. Because at this rate, um, you're gonna have to write it on paper.
You're killing me.
Cause I can't fuck around like this. My patience ain't what it used to be. I'm gonna be honest with you. You motherfuckers mumbling and shit. Bitch, speak. Um, uh,
do
I
you
got
know?
one
Do you
grandchild.
know?
He
Hey, do
he
you know
just
where I
talk
heard
you to
that
death.
before? Do you know where I heard that before?
Where?
Bitch, speak. Tony Soprano, The Sopranos. He'd
Oh
pick
my
up the phone and
God!
go,
You got to be
speak.
kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm serious. I haven't heard that for a long time.
Really,
And The
I
Sopranos,
didn't
he would
even.
pick up the
I
phone, he would
it's
just go,
funny.
speak.
I have never seen the whole Sopranos.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen the whole.
You are just killing me though, Thea. Your honesty, and I think that's your comedy though. I think that's how your comedy works, is you just tell it as it is.
But you know what? You know what? People say they want. See, this is where I gotta say something about England. England, when you perform in the United Kingdom, they can take it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
right,
could
right.
talk about. I
Any
called the Queen of Ugly Hoe, and they uh, and I said, you know how I know she's an ugly hoe? Because I have never heard an Englishman say, "Ooh, I want to fuck her." Never in the history of my life have I ever heard
no.
somebody say they wanted to fuck Elizabeth.
Well, she's
Uh,
dead now, so it's not gonna work out.
Her mother, yeah, they wanted to fuck the Queen's mom, but not
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Uh, and I look back on it and think about how the Queen's mom used to be dressed really flashy, and
Right.
she had some oomph to her. She had some little gay guys with her, and she was dressed like the shit. But she never wanted to walk with Elizabeth. She like, bitch, move. Oh, you trying to steal my shine. Get over
Oh
there.
my
And I
God.
love the Queen's mom because she was the shit. Queen
So there's
Elizabeth,
a big difference from performing in the US versus performing in the UK.
a big difference. And I was in Brixton and I was talking, and this guy yelled out, we're not as racist as America. I said, what the fuck did you say? I was in the theater. I said, you are the architects of racism.
That's true.
I said, let me tell you something. I said, this right there out on that port, that's where the slave ships left. Don't try to bullshit me. And all of these like black people back, teach. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm having a meeting. Anyway, I said,
No,
don't
I
try to
mean,
play with me,
hey, I hate
motherfucker.
to talk it.
Don't. No. Willie Lynch letter. Pay attention is gonna be a test. And I just let him have it because he said that shit. I go, you're the most racist bastards on the face of the earth. You're still using the word colored. Get the fuck off me.
Well, Meghan Markle, all you got to do is mention Meghan Markle, and they still they didn't
But
accept
that's
her at
what they
all
get. That's what they get. She's not the first black person to be
in the royal
in
family.
England and the UK, the royal family. She ain't the first black one. She's the first one that we saw
I was gonna say, yeah.
with a tragic mulatto ass.
Oh Jesus,
Anyway,
Harry, that they're stifled.
that what she you just look at her going, she gonna be an imitation of life.
Yeah,
Watch.
I knew it.
Nobody knows that movie. I mean, some people do.
Yeah.
Um, I had a friend. I'm digressing. I had a friend whose nephew could pass. Well, you pass for white, and she said he was standing next to a bunch of white guys. Well, she said, where? He says, I'm right here. And he thought of himself as a white guy. But the reality was he was black, but he just had white skin.
Yeah, right.
And she slapped the fuck out of him for that. For
Yeah.
that insolent, just defiant, you just want to be white when you know you got black blood.
Yeah.
You just, and I said, explain to him that there's 26 different shades of black.
Yeah.
We can go from very, 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 very
Yeah.
dark to
Yeah.
very, 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 very white. I said, white people just got that one white, red, and blue. That's it. Blue, they die. And I said, you need to let him see imitation of life and let him understand how important this is to recognize who you really are. You may look white, but you're not white. Your daddy's not white.
Right. Well,
And I
I hate to.
always think about that. I That's a very strange tightrope to walk.
My sister's married to a black man, and I lived in Philadelphia, and I learned that the darker, like my buddy used to say, that boy's so black he sweats ink. And I learned that the darker, in other words, that there's a difference. I was in a
Oh
club in
yeah,
Philadelphia. I
white
was in a
people
club in
instilled that
Philadelphia
in
where I
us.
was the only white guy there. I was working, RCA, and my urban counterpart said, "It's getting dark in here. We got to get the fuck out of here." And I didn't know what he meant but he was talking. It got darker and darker. The skin color got darker and darker. We had to get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's the code word. They said that on Carnival.
Yeah,
I used to work on I'm putting some liquor on my lips are
yeah.
dry. And let me tell you something. Because he said I could be myself. So anyway, let me tell you something. I in the showroom, uh, these white people came in, they didn't want to.
I'm
They
trying to
looked
see how
around
much
and
time
it
we
was a
have. We
little
only have
bit too.
about we only have about 3 or 4 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
But
Go
go ahead, go ahead. Tell me that story.
okay,
I'd love to hear
so
it.
they the ushers and stuff were saying, look, you can sit over there with these people, but you can't all sit together because you're late. And the father looked at his sons and said, it's a little too dark in here for us. And they got up and left. And it's
Yeah.
like, bye, bitch. My feelings don't
Well,
get hurt.
and it's a slippery slope, and I'll tell you what, because we had some problems getting started and everything. If you want, I'd love to have you back, and we'll go on this more because it's a slippery slope talking about race. But and it's easy for me to say because I'm white, but I mean in my heart, I don't play the race game. I used to go to BET, I'd be the only white guy there. No, I'm telling you the truth.
Oh, I believe you.
And so in other words, when my sister's married, I just don't play it. They're good white people, they're good black people. But unfortunately, like you said earlier, I'm digressing now, where it would be nice if more people would get with other so they understand that there is differences.
But you know what? You know what? I look at it and I say, it's 2025.
Yeah.
God let me live to see 2025. And you'd think it was 1956.
Yeah. Trump's
Like
making it
you,
worse. Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why it's like this.
Yeah, it's
But
gotten
I can
worse.
tell you the one thing I do believe.
Yeah.
I believe for all the evil people do, God pay you back.
Oh
He
yeah.
will pay you back.
Well, I believe good things happen to good people. Like we started off and we'll end with it. Lester Bibbs set this up. I want to thank Lester for getting me in touch with you because I love you. I think you're fantastic.
Thank you.
I
I'm
hope you had
very
a good
honored.
time. We don't have a lot of time left, but is there anything you want to tell the people? And like I said, if you want, I'll have you back on down the road and we'll catch back up. We'll see what you got going on.
Okay, I would love to come back on because I
Okay.
kind of got this Zoom thing figured out now.
Cool, cool.
And